looks like Noda is going to be your winner of this Portuguese Grand Prix. Is your champion. JJ splits the middle, gets past both drivers. There is something really, really nice about a couple week break and then coming right back to it. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to what we are calling our preseason barrages. It's the week before season 8 starts, but the grid isn't set. This is how we set the grid. We're at Coda today. Let me get you trackside here because you're going to love to see this. We're at Coda and we're in the rain. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this season 8 qualifying rounds here for Foxxxes Racing League. It's a little bit different than what you see on a normal Sunday, so we'll kind of explain it as we go. But of course, joining me as always, every Sunday, it's always great. We have the great duo of Syntex and Kenny. Syntex, welcome back. How have you enjoyed your break? What have you done for your break? And how are you feeling about these preseason barrages?
Welcome, brother. It's always a pleasure. Welcome, everybody. And yeah, I take my break pretty good, and I cannot wait for the boys just get some racing today. And I know that you are so happy that we are racing currently on Dakota. Just I don't need to ask about it. But yeah, I have some flashbacks, because I believe that I already seen that rain on the Dakota,
Yeah, a wet Austin is always fun. Kenny, you're American just like I am. First off, welcome back. It's great to have you back for another season. I know you joined us really late in season 7. It's great to have you here to kick off season 8, and I'm looking forward to seeing you a lot this season. Wet Coda, what's your feedback on it? How do you feel?
Well, it's good to be back here for the, I guess, the beginning of the end here at the preseason stage here at FRL. But no, Coda is a very, very technical track in my opinion, whether it's dry or wet. But you have the infamous S section, and also you have tons of elevation change up and around here. So it's going to be interesting to see how these drivers get used to this track. But no, it's a true test, I think, and a great track to drive around.
It's a lot of fun to watch these drivers go through, and a wet Coda is a challenging Coda, and as Tazo says, he chose this track especially for me, which I appreciate. So let's kind of explain how the barrages are going to work. This is a bit different than your typical Sunday FRL format, so this is going to be setting up our point for how things are going to look for Season 8. We are changing things up a bit for Season 8 here at FRL. We're not going to run 2 splits, we're running 1 split, and if you want to be involved in that split and you didn't finish in the top 10 of points for last season in Split 1, this is how you get your seat. So the 14 drivers you see on screen, and we got one more on the way. He is just running a little bit behind with traffic. So 15 drivers in total competing across 3 races. Bottom 4 are not going to be involved with primary seats. They get reserve seating. However, all of our top 11 drivers out of these 3 races are going to be guaranteed seats for Season 8. And what we're looking at, you're looking at 3 races coming at you here. We've got our standard 18-minute quali coming at Coda. Graxent putting in a fastest time so far, but I think these times are going to keep coming down as qualifying goes. Don't pay too much attention to them right now. 18-minute quali here with a 25% race at Coda. And then we're going to move on to 2 more races after that. 1-shot quali and 25% at Baku, and a 1-shot quali with a 25% race at Abu Dhabi. Now, here's where things get really fun. No lobby restarts, no safety car. If you wreck, you're out. If you don't wreck, you're good. So the drivers really have to be on their P's and Q's, and this is going to be where we see the best of the best come forward. Debe says he's going to get a win. I don't know how to feel about that, but Syntax, give me a little bit of feedback here. How do you feel about this barrage format, and who is going to shine? Who is going to get unlucky?
This isn't exactly something new because we already have one Barrages a few seasons ago, but we have only 4 drivers then. But it's so nice to see more drivers implemented in that event, and it's almost also a second part of the break for us, right? Because we're still waiting for the new season upcoming. So a new event with commentary section for us. What I can add to do is I messed up so much. You see, this is how break works for me, and I need to get used to it with that once again. But yeah, I'm really happy to see boys driving again, and I believe we will see a very good and clean racing, especially that we have Jack, we have Deba, we have Nexiak, we have Graxen, Bartes, Baran, and many more of the very good drivers on the track. But as always on the quota, the weather situation isn't that good as drivers will be believing, because trust me, they wanted so badly a dry weather, and I hope we wouldn't see such a beautiful weather on the Baku without the safety cars, because it might be a disaster.
I'm really looking forward to no safety car at Baku. That is going to be chef's kiss. Great time. Cannot wait for it. Everyone knows safety car at Baku is probably the bane of my existence. And unfortunately, with the way Baku's set up, that's where we tend to get the most safety cars. Tazo is asking in the Twitch chat, and if you want to get involved here, jump in the Twitch chat, send us your questions. This is going to be a little bit different format of a stream compared to what you're used to with us. It's going to be a little bit more fast-paced, but there's a little bit more time to chat. Bit serious, bit fun all at the same time. This is just getting ready for the fun of Season 8. Tazo wants to know what driver is going to win at Coda. Kenny, I'm going to deflect to you. Who's going to win?
Well, kind of looking at the timesheets here, you got a few drivers, both Wasserschwein and Bimolino Gacho yet to set a time, but I think those guys are going to go up the leaderboard quite a bit. But I will say, depending on track conditions throughout this session and the race, I'm seeing quite a few drivers struggle in turns 6, 7, 8, and coming out of 9 as well. So I'm not sure if we'll see many spins or not, but I've already seen quite a few.
Yeah.
Pentex, I'm deflecting to you now. Who's winning this race?
I've seen Jack spinning a little bit, and I believe he has some problems getting back to the game. He already have another incorrect lap as he is driving right now, and he will be starting another one. But as a former driver, I believe Debe, Graxent, and Wasser have an amazing pace. But if I will have to decide who it could be, I will say Graxent. Jack isn't looking that good as he was a few seasons ago, and I'm truly sad about it, because he's a great guy, amazing driver, and he needs to take some break from the game like me, and I fully understand it. But I believe Jack will come back to his best form, and we'll see Jack standing on the podium, because right now it doesn't look promising.
I guess
I'm gonna go with Wasserschwein. That's my pick, guys. As Wasserschwein as he gets up there in the top 3.
I guess that leaves it to me to say who's going to win now. Kushor. I don't have a reason why I'm saying Kushor's going to win. I'm just saying Kushor's going to win because I don't know who else to pick. And yeah, I have a feeling that
can,
this is going to be wild.
if I can say something, because I have a special task to do, I have to say from Bartosz, greetings from him, because he is right now in the New York City, and he just wanted to say hello to everyone.
Bartosz, not too far from my neck of the woods. You should tell him to come down, jump on stream in real life. He'd be here before next Sunday, I think.
Possibly, but I'm not sure about it. But let's go back to the qualification session. Right now we have Draxen on the provisional pole position, Deba on the P2, and Wasserschwein on the P3. Jag is going to the pit lane, and Kushor and Vixie already on the soft compound. So this is kind of interesting, I would say. But also the weather isn't looking that bad. Now Bartes is deciding to go for the soft compound, also Graxens. So I believe the weather is changing for better right now, and I believe most of the drivers will definitely use it to get a better time.
Yeah, drivers are going to be looking for that transition point here. We've got 7 minutes left to go, so there's plenty of time, I think, for them to be able to put in fast laps and get some dry tire running going. It's just a matter of who is going to brave it first. It looks like Kushor is our first driver out and already running very wide through turn 1. I think he's just trying to stay out of some drivers' way. On my screen, I still see some, wet patches on the track and a little bit of puddles, but as we know, the graphics with the game don't always represent how the grip of the car feels and how things feel going through. So Kushor is kind of running through. He's got Maverick back behind him there, and they are on soft tires. You can see from this wider shot, not on board with the car, the track looks a bit drier, so maybe making a good decision here to try to go out on softs early. And I think we're about to see times ramp down quite a bit here within the next 6.5 minutes. Only driver that hasn't put in a time so far is Juro, which is really surprising to me that Juro hasn't put in a time, and I don't know if maybe he's just holding back for a little bit, or if it's something that he's just waiting on the track to dry. Yeah, but he's been putting in laps. He's been trying to put in laps. You can see he's on intermediates right now, still trying to put in a time, and I almost wonder if maybe he's just struggling with track limits, because Coda can be challenging in that way.
Of course. And also on the Twitch chat, Bartosz saying hi guys. So we have a confirmation about that. And yeah, most of the drivers currently on the soft compound, only Myros and Juro and Nekjak on the intermediates. Even Myros decided to go to the pit lane. So I believe we will see some better times, I believe, because 1 minute 43 is also a very, very good time. But definitely they need to go faster right now.
Yep, it looks like Kushor and Maverick are currently on push laps through, and these are going to be the ones that we have to watch. This is going to be what we're going to have to look through. Nekshak is our first driver to retire from the session, and it looks like he spun in turn 2, which is pretty unfortunate for him because the time he has right now does not have him safe in any way. You can see him right there off the corner of turn 2. So he is going to be in a lot of trouble, especially with 5 minutes left to go and these drivers starting to put in faster times. I'm on board here with Maverick, and Maverick just has a lot of grip. There's the DRS enabled call. So, Kenny, tell me your experience. Lap time going to start coming down. How competitive are we going to get here in the next 4 minutes?
Oh, it's going to be tight. Definitely. I think it's going to be a very, very tough fight for that, say, top 6. But I will say you're seeing a little bit of still spray on the camera, so big cognizant of what's going on out on track. But like you said earlier, that doesn't necessarily indicate true track grip and track conditions. But no, pace is going to definitely start heating up here over these these final 4 minutes.
4 minutes, 10 seconds left to go here. We're on board with Kushor coming through Sector 3 through the horseshoe. Absolutely love this section of the track because it's just hold the car to the right and hope the tires keep grip. He comes out the left-hander here. You have to watch him, make sure you don't run a little wide on that curb. Watch your track limits here. Watch the sausage curbs on the outside. DRS open down the main street, and Kushor is going to start bringing us down. He's got a 137.5. Maverick is behind him there. 3 minutes, 45 seconds left to go. Maverick aborts his lap. I think we're at the point where drivers, if they're starting a push lap now, it's all they have. But if you're someone like Kushor, he might have enough time to get around and put in another lap.
If I can add something, because we shouldn't like think about the weather condition watching on the graphics, because yeah, you can have a spray, but trust me, it doesn't affect at all on in the game. Because for example, it might be raining, but game, we've seen that situation many times, that for example it looks like on the beginning on the qualification session is like raining a lot, but the game decides to give you a soft compound. So basically, if it's raining, it doesn't mean like you need to go for the intermediates. Somewhere I've seen some sunshine, I don't know how it called in English, but we can see that it's coming out of the clouds. So I believe the race will be in the better conditions.
Which I will tell you, all of these drivers do not want to race Coda in the rain, even though it's a 25% race. That is a challenging time. We've seen it in FRL. We've seen some fun in the rain at Coda, and I can tell you the drivers don't want that experience. Marios comes across the line. He is going to be holding on to P8 at the moment, 143. We've had 3 drivers put in times that are really lowered down there. Red Bull off in the grass there. I think he's just trying to stay out of the way, which kudos to him for that. Baran is coming through final corner now. He's up quite a bit of time. Baran, 134.595, is going to be our provisional pole sitter with 2 minutes left to go. Nearly 2 seconds up on Velix here. And the times are starting to come down, boys. And everybody hold on, because it's 2 minutes left. And it's anything can happen, if I can steal the words from Syntax for just a second.
Exactly, and as I can see, the last driver just joined to our lobby. It's Baku, and as you mentioned, we still have 2 minutes left, so everything might happen. And I don't remember correctly what we have like our motto. Do you remember that when we had to something to Greece to ask him can he implement that on the graphics? Do you remember that quote?
Oh, I do remember that. I don't remember exactly what the quote was, but I do remember that.
Yeah, it was funny. Nevertheless, Baron on the provisional pole position, Velix on the second place, and Muminek on the P3. Right behind him we have Kushor and Graxen. Graxen didn't improve his time since he changed the compound from intermediates to the softs. So I believe it will be last bell for Graxen just to improve his time. But now Myros, out of nowhere, 1 minute 34.4, amazing time.
Yep, Myros 134.497 going through. We saw Graxent warming up his tires there. So Graxent on the final lap here of his qualifying session here at Coda. This is going to be for all the marbles. It's going to be whatever he can put in here. And we're going to watch through because there's a lot of drivers on final laps. Just a few seconds left to go. Who is going to get across the line and be able to put in times? 20 seconds here, and Debe is coming around the final sector, so Debe's going to be able to put in a time through. Mumamek's out. Graxen's purple sector 1. I'm watching Graxent here because Graxent is lighting up the timing screens as he runs down the corner here. Left-hander running down. He's got a little bit of traffic in front of him. I don't think that's going to be an issue, though. Look at that apex. Gorgeous. Lines crossed. Checkered flags out. Mumamek, neck shack. Baku, Velix, Kushor are all locked in here. Drivers are going to continue to cross the line as we go through. And as we watch, Graxent continues to light up the timing screens as we go. And he is continuing to push through. He's trying his best to go through. We'll see how he does here in the middle sector. And as he looks, he's 5 seconds up on his personal best. He's purple sector 2. So I think Graxent might just bring it home for provisional pole here in this first round. As we run around, final corners coming through. Jack is going to be coming across the line next. Jack through the final corner. Where is Jack going to land himself? Hasn't put in a representative time all session. Saves it for the end. 134.6 puts himself into P3. Next across the line is the AlphaTauri. Doesn't improve any there, Marios. And Bimolino Gaucho comes across 134.4. Watch out for Graxent, though. Graxent 134.093 puts himself up into pole position there. And now we just wait for the last couple of drivers to cross through. His teammate Baran is coming through the third sector and invalidated his lap. Debe is coming through the third sector now. And Debe looks to be on a semi-decent lap here. I can't tell for sure, but he's not doing half bad. We'll see if Debe improves or if he's going to start bottom row of the grid as we run around. He's final 2 corners now. Where can he place that Haas, that American muscle machine, the Gunther Steiner special? He brings it across the line here. DRS open. Dame provisional pole! 134.082 by just a 100th of a second. Debe brings home provisional pole in Coda. And it's not provisional. Why am I calling it provisional? It's not provisional. That is pole position for Debe. Debe said, I'm showing up. And he puts the Haas on the front position of the grid. Gunther Steiner, take a bow. Kevin Magnussen, who?
I believe both of you are right now so happy to see Haas on the pole position on the Kota.
Debe. After all of the heartbreak I've witnessed Debe go through.
Debe, please hold language English on the chat. Thank you so much.
Debe, by 100th of a second, knocks out Graxon at the final bell. Bimlino Gacho P3, Marios P4, Baran, Jack, Wasserschwein, Maverick, Juro, Barthez, Velix, Mumet, Kushor, Nekshak. All right, 25% race here, so hold your breath. Don't go anywhere. This action is going to go fast. It is 5 red lights, and we are going to be underway here for this first round of 3 barrages here. Debe gets away well. That is the Red Bull of Wasserschwein, though, getting away very aggressively in the midfield. Look at the back of the pack, though. Look at that Nekshak jumping through major positions as he goes through. It's a kerfuffle in the midfield. Of course, no safety cars here, so anything that happens, happens, and there it is. Jack and Wasserschwein come together. They knock each other out of turn 1, but as we run down through the S's in the first sector, it is Debe ahead of Graxent, Marios, Bimolino, Gaucho, and everyone's gotten away well. Jack Wasserschwein dropping places, Velix dropping places. That is going to be Marios that is spun there out of the end of the first sector. We're still through. Again, no safety car, nothing to worry about there. But look at Nekshak up 8 places. Kushor is up 6 places. And as we continue to go, there is a pit stop strategy powered by AWS. It's soft to medium or soft to hard. I would say if we see pit stops, it's going to be soft to medium because there's no reason you should pull the hard tire out here. Not with this much on the line.
Exactly, and Debe is still holding his P1 right now, and he's running away from Gaxent, and I'm truly amazed with Debe's pace, because to be honest, I weren't expecting something like this, and Debe is hungry, and we can clearly see that. Debe is hungry, and he already showed us in the season 7 when he won his first race in the FRL history. But right now, I would say Debe is going for the FRL general qualifications for the drivers section. He is going to win the title. Look how he is running right now. It's amazing.
I think Debe switched over to those Moza pedals and Moza wheels. Of course, FRL is now a Moza affiliate. If you want to support the league, jump down into our description, do !Moza in the chat, shop using our link, and you directly support the league. I think Debe did switch over to some Moza wheels and pedals the way he's driving. Kenny, big losers here are Velix, Maku, Wasserschwein, and Jack. Do you think that they have a chance to bring this back, or are they just going to have to ride off round 1 here?
No safety car, so you won't have that to help you out come back into the fight. But yeah, some massive losses for both Maros and Jack and Wasserschwein. So it's gonna be I don't know. I don't think so. Not really. Around here, pace is a kind of a premium. So once you lose, I mean the gaps aren't bad, but no, I don't. I mean maybe, but I don't think Jack's gonna be a threat. What Jack finish in to qualify? He qualified P3.
Yes.
Yeah, so, I mean, he's got the pace, but, he'll have to tear it up and see. But definitely, I think on the defense, once you get closer up into that top 6, where, especially up to Maverick and Baran, both those guys are great defenders. So, we'll see.
Long race to settle into, and really it's not long. This is a quick, short little run, so settle in, get ready. I told you don't hold your breath. because this was going to move fast. I hope you don't have to go to the bathroom or do anything. DRS is now enabled. This is where things get very interesting because you have Baran 0.4 of a second back on Bimmelino Gaucho. He is going to be pushing to improve here. Look at this battle right here for P6. Next track, Kushor, 1/10 of a second there. Is there going to be a dive into turn 1? Kushor thinks better of it. He's going to sit back here. He's going to kind of hold on, bide his time as we're going through the S's. P2, 3, 4 are on medium tires. The bottom 3 are on medium tires. Everybody else starting out on the softs. Tire temps can be a little bit of an issue here at COTA just because of how aggressive these S's are, how much grip it demands. You've got some really tight hairpins and some really long, winding right and left-handers here, and as we see, that can come to your advantage or disadvantage. Kushor getting past Nekshak there. Nekshak running off the track, and there goes Juro into the mix as well, knocks Kushor straight off of the track. So Juro getting in the mix, trying to move up as well, and now Juro battling with Nekshak here. Juro gets himself up into P6. That was Bimmelino Gaucho, who just went past your screen there, spun out of turn 9, I believe that is. And that is going to be him dropping back. Nekshak, Juro, side-by-side battle. Look at Mumamek getting in the mix, though. Here we go. And he is going to have DRS open. He's down the inside into the left-hander. Is he going to be able to hold on to this? He is. And there we go. And Juro knocking out Kushor. But then things getting mixed up. Bimmelino Gaucho dropping back. Now Bimmelino Gaucho is battling with Wasserschwein as we go through the third sector. Who's going to come out on the advantage? And it looks like Wasserschwein holds on against Bimmelino Gaucho. But now Juro and Barthez are battling as well. And guys, the front of the field has settled down with over a second and a half between each driver in the top 5, but this back half of the top 10, this is where the action is, and I hope that everyone knows this is where a lot of the decisions are going. And here we go. Pit stop starting. Barthez into the wall, going into pit entry. Oh, that's a fatal error coming from Barthez.
That was so close. I hope he don't need to change his wing because it will definitely hold. He have his wing totally broke, so kind of unlucky, but I truly understand you, Bartes. This pit entry is really difficult. Even though Myers just jumped up in front of the Bartes, he is currently on the P11, but he's losing almost 13 seconds to the Bimmelino Gaucho. But as you mentioned, the real fight is between P6 to the P9, I will say. So yeah, definitely an amazing battle in the middle part of the grid. But yeah, situation on the track looks like it's calming down a little bit. And I'm truly amazed with the Debe and Graxen pace. We also know that Baran have also have an amazing pace, but even though I'm truly impressed with the Maverick performance because he's currently on the P4, and yeah, biggest losers right now, as you mentioned before, Velix, Jack, Maku. I hope they will have a time just to get back to fight for some better points, because I don't remember that you mentioned how the points after the race will be working in the barrages.
Yeah, so the points after the barrages are a little bit different. So it's 50 points to P1, 43 to P2, 37 P3, and it continues down from there. We'll post the Google sheet after the end of each round. That way everyone watching can view it and kind of see how the results go. Mumamek up the inside here against Nekshak. Is he going to be able to keep hold? He doesn't. Switchback goes through here, and is Nekshak going to come out ahead? They're side by side going into this turn 2, 3, 4, 5 section, and this is a very, very hard place to go side by side. Mumamek thinks better of it. He settles back in. Kenny, over to you. Any fun stats, anything you want to give us that you've noticed so far here in this race?
I'm telling you what, this 6-car train from P6 or P5 on back is just something else to watch. Say what you want about the top 3, but my eyes are fixated on this this train here. Very clean so far for the most part, but you know, a few laps ago we did say it was Kushor who's back up in the mix. Kushor did take quite a big of a hit though, but and then Barth of course had that damage to his front wing, which is going to compromise his day quite a bit.
All of the drivers holding on here, going through. Look at this DRS open. Nekshak, Mumamek side by side as they go through. Nekshak is going to take advantage of DRS. He gets himself ahead of Mumamek there, but it is going to be just another battle continuing. Of course, these drivers are going to have to pit at some point as the tire degradation does get scaled with these shorter races, so the tires are not going to last the whole way, even though I'm sure they wish they would. Look at Kushor getting absolutely bullied here through the left-hander. He gets knocked by Juro. Wasserschwein tried to have a mix in there. there as well. Wasserschwein, a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact, but ultimately Kushort holds on to P8 for the moment. Top three are getting a little bit spicy here. Look at this. Baran is within half a second of Graxent now. I know both of these drivers are running Alfa Romeo liveries, and they're running on the same team. However, they are not teammates, so don't let that disturb you, because they are racing for their positions in next season. They might be running in the same team. They are not thinking teammate or team orders in any way right now.
Exactly, and as we can see, Baran is improving his time since lap to lap, comparing to each other. And right now, I believe Baran will be trying to attack Graxen, because we are getting to the main straight with the DRS section on the second sector, and right now Baran is losing only the half of the second behind the Graxen right now with the DRS. Graxen will need to use a lot of battery just to run out of his teammate, as you mentioned. But even though Graxen also gets closer a little bit to the Dhabi, so yeah, the tire degradation might be a game changer here. To be honest, I don't remember how many laps you can do on the medium and the soft compound, and it will be so hard to predict when they need to go to the pit lane to change their tires. But even though I will say Baran and Graxen are in much better position right now, Deba decide to go to the pit lane, and of course he will be changing the tires for, I believe, medium compound. And Vixie is doing exactly the same. Let's see how Kushor will go. Yeah, exactly the same. And Wasser decided to stay on the track, so he will jump on the P3 currently if he will be able to overtake Debe. Yeah, exactly. So right now Wasser on the P3, Bemolino Gaucho on the P4, and Debe P5.
David comes out of the pits onto a fresh set of mediums there. And to answer your tire question about tire life, probably 6 to 7 laps are really about the best you're going to get out of soft tires on this 25% race. I can't imagine trying to run it much longer. Wasserschwein, the only driver out on soft tires at the moment, so he's got a bit of work to do to hold on to that car, and you can see it's getting a little bit loose on him there. He's starting to lose the rear end. Not as much mechanical grip in that car as he would want as those tires continue to die down. We're starting to see time penalties handed out here. Marios and Barthez, both with 3-second time penalties. We're officially halfway through this race. And at the moment, Graxent looks in a very good spot. Baran looks in a very good spot. Of course, they still need to pit. Wasser, Bemolino still need to pit. At the moment, Debe is still in the lead. But when you look at the gap, he's within a pit stop of Graxent, so Graxent needs to pull out a little bit of a gap here if he can, and then that will set him up very well. And here we go, Wasserschwein against Bemolino Gaucho. That pass is done. And guys, I think we can say we're into the back half of the race, and I still don't think it's a clear-cut winner, but Debe started on pole and still looks like he's in a very good spot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And one more thing that come to my mind, and trying to compare Split 2 and the Split 1. When I'm watching the Split 2 drivers, former Split 2 drivers, I believe it looks like they need to push a little bit more and maybe sometimes try to be more aggressive, because it looks like they are so passive when it comes to the overtaking. We've seen a situation on the track when there was a contact, of course, and a lot of drivers loses their position because of that. But even though maybe I'm not feeling in the bad way, thinking of the aggressive way, but more like defending it like a lion, you know?
Yeah, we know we have some strong drivers here in FRL that know how to defend. Maybe they can give some lessons here and there as we go, because look at this defense that Mumamek is doing right now on Wasserschwein. Wasserschwein trying to get through. He's settling in there in that first sector because he knows that's not a good place to pass. That's the racecraft coming out. And then Juro right in the mix as well. I think Juro is going to try to have a sneak through as we go. Wasserschwein on those brand new medium tires, though. He's got to get those up to temp and get them going, not push too hard. And he's still, I mean, look at that. He is right on the rear wing. A little bit less grip out of that corner exit of turn 9, and Juro in the mix as well. Jack currently holds the fastest lap, so a lot of pace being shown from the back of the field. They're trying to catch back up and go through. There is our pass. Wasserschwein on Mumamek. He's up the inside. He gets the pass done. Graxit now into the pits. And Kenny, here's a question for you. If you're pitting in, you're on soft tires, and you go through, you have nothing to lose at this point. You're not bringing these tires home. You're just going to push, right?
No, you're absolutely gonna shred them. I'm going all out for it. The thing is, I don't know. I believe they're not teammates for season 8, but the two Alfa Romeos had to get their pit stop strategies figured out because they were going to compromise each other in this race because being in the same car running so close together. When Graxit came into the pits, he was right all over the back end, half a second behind. So we'll see how the softs fare out, but as we saw earlier with Wasserschwein, 6-7 laps seemed to be you struggle a little bit, but not too bad.
These drivers have to make it to lap 14. We're on lap 9 now, so they've got 5 laps they need to make it. Should be doable. They might be feeling a little bit of pain by the end of the race, but if he can take advantage early, he should be in a good spot. Graxit currently sitting P3 here. He's trying to get past Bimolino Gaucho. He's got the DRS open. He's on the brand new half a lap old soft tire compound, and that isn't even a challenge. So Graxit comes out of the pits. He's ahead of Debe. Debe 2 seconds back here on Graxit, so this might be the point where the lead is given up. Debe now picking up a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting, and those penalties can be detrimental long-term, Syntax.
Exactly, and look how the time gap between the drivers somewhere are like very, very small. For example, Muminek is right now trying to get closer to the Jack. Jack improve his position on the grid, and from back, right now he's placing himself to the P9, of course, after starting the race on the P3, still somehow a bad position for him, but he already lose like 6 places, not anymore. So it's a good position for Jack to get back to the fighting section. But right now, Bemolino Gaucho also decided to go to the pit lane. He's already on the P8, and I believe even P10, P11, yeah, so he lost a lot because of that pit strategy. And don't forget that we have a Baran in front of the Graxit on the fresh pair of soft compound, and right now, right behind him is coming another hungry driver called Graxit with the DRS open, and look at this, he will be trying his best right now just to overtake his non-teammate, I will say, because it's a very good opportunity to use this term, but right now he haven't got any chance to get closer to the Baran, so he will decide to step back a little bit more. A very good strategy right now. Baran with a little snap moment, as you always saying, Brad, because it's like my favorite text from you that I will definitely use it sometimes.
Absolutely. It's always fun to watch and see how these drivers go. Again, we say they're teammates, but they don't care right now. They're racing for the win. They're racing for that guaranteed seat in next season. One of the things that I did notice there, Bimolino Gaucho lost out big time with pit strategy, but I think the one person that's going to be the most upset is Debe. Look at him. He's in P3. He's 4.5 seconds back, and he's got a 3-second time penalty he's having to nurse because of how hard he was trying to push Baran and Graxit. Starting on the medium, they were able to stretch out a bit longer, and they were able to take advantage of that and go through. Jack right now is putting a powerhouse performance in, though. Jack's pushed his way all the way back up to P7, and he's continuing to push through. Kushtor's behind him, thought about a peek up the inside in turn 1, doesn't go for the move. So Jack all the way up into P7, putting in a mega performance so far, trying to build his way through. And guys, we've got 2 more races after this. We've got plenty of action coming.
Yeah, I will say, just like you said, and I was kind of wondering if he would get up into that top 6 or further, or maybe even threaten for a podium. But Jack is putting on a stellar performance. He's now all over the back of Wasserschwein, so we'll see what happens here in the next couple turns.
Jack looking really strong so far. There's Next Shack Wasserschwein Maverick on your screen, also battling it out. Next Shack and Wasserschwein. Oh, there's a big snap moment from Jack. I don't know if he had contact there. It was hard to tell.
He just spun. He got spun on the exit on the turn, so it was like commentary curse. Don't worry, guys. It's like typical FRL content, as we always providing.
I'm going to step away from Jack because I don't want to compromise Jack anymore. Now, let's look at this battle up front. We tune into Baran and Graxon. They were side by side through a little bit of the third sector there. They're getting a little bit racy through, and I will tell you right now, Debe hopes they continue that because as they continue to race, Debe's closing in little by little. Closer and closer he can get to try to maybe have a fight for the podium here. 2 laps to go, and Debe wants to go to the front as he can. He's got 6 seconds behind him, so Debe's not really under pressure from behind. He just needs to maintain a 3-second gap. And as we watch here, this is going to be the big battle through the end. Is Graxon going to be able to get past Baran? Are they going to take each other out? What's going to happen with these final 2 laps? Only one way to know. I hope everyone's still sitting, still watching. You'll have a chance here between races to go get a snack, get something to drink, and prep up. 2 more races coming up after this, but just a little bit more going.
Exactly, and right now Jack have some problems to go to the pit lane, and I believe he decided to retire in this race. I don't know what's happened, but it's so sad to see Jack in these conditions right now when he is closing the grid. But right now Baran is fighting with the Graxon, and Graxon with very late braking right now, and somehow he managed to overtake Baran, but Baran isn't said that it isn't over right now with a beautiful switchbacks. They trying, they fighting, they are so close right now. But even though Graxon somehow managed to overtake Baran, and right now he is leading in this race. Kenny, what is going on here?
Yeah, some great racing here from a couple pairs going on, but definitely right now here in front with these 2 Alfa Romeos. But yeah, it's going to see, I think it's going to come down to the final lap.
Lap 13 of 14 starting now as we continue to go. There's the run up the hill towards turn 1. You can see Baran just half a second back, and Baran does have the lap pressure tires. I think he got smart there and just backed out of it a little bit. Bimolino, Gaucho, or Kushor has dropped back there. I think something happened with Kushor there in the 3rd sector, and he's had to drop back. He's going to lose out another place now, so Kushor losing it near the end here, going back to P12. That's very unfortunate to see from the McLaren driver as he drops back. We've lost 1 driver in this race so far, and that is Jack by retirement. 2 more races that he can still secure his place, though, here in FRL, so Jack's got plenty to fight for here as we go through. And now, keep your eyes all over the grid. Look at how close a lot of these gaps are. Wasserschwein half a second back on next track and gaining slowly through the S's here. Baran half a second back on Graxon, and they are running down the back straight here. DRS wide open. Is he going to be able to make a move here going into the left-hander of turn 10? He's just a little too far back. I don't think he can do anything. He's going to be setting things up very hard, though, for the final lap. But Baran does also have a 3-second time penalty. And now Wasserschwein picking up a 3-second time penalty. Maybe a little bit of fatigue of this track starting to pick up for these drivers. They still have 2 races to go after this, though. So they need to just make sure they keep things together as best they can. Baran, even if he passes Graxon now, has to pull out a 3-second lead. So Baran might just settle in here and kind of hang out where he's at. Marios and Mumamek, there's the pass from Marios for P8. Gets past Mumamek there. He's just trying to push through, build a little bit of space there because he wants to finish in the top 10 when penalties are applied. And all is said and done. Wasserschwein comes through, is currently sitting P6, half a second back from next shack. We've started our final lap now. Our leaders are up the run towards turn 1 for the final time now. And as we come through, Baran 0.2 of a second back, 0.3 of a second back coming out of turn 1. A little bit poor exit out of turn 1, but he's going to hold on to it. And everybody hold your breath for 3/4 of a lap because the action is not over. Syntax,
Yeah.
what do you think?
I'm really enjoying the race, to be honest, and it's so much fun to watch Graxon and Baran fighting so, I would say, clearly, because I haven't seen any contact with them. But right now I'm spectating Baran, and I'm not sure that he is lagging or he's driving on a controller, because it looks like his driving style was a little bit I would say strange. Nevertheless, he's right now trying to get closer to the Graxon. They are going wheel to wheel, and I believe Baran pushed a little bit Graxon outside of the track. That's why he overtake Graxon. A dirty move, and we've seen Baran doing moves like this in the previous season. Right now again with the snap moment, and I don't believe that Graxon will have opportunity to catch out Baran, but Baran have a 3-second time penalty, so Graxon He don't need to go in the stress. And right now, he is the winner on the quota. Baran is second. And right now, Debe will be cutting the finish line. So this is our top 3 in the quota race.
Battle's not over in the midfield here. Wasserschwein and Neckshack side by side through the final corners here. And there goes Bimolino Gaucho in the mix as they come through. Who comes out ahead of these 3? Wasserschwein. But penalties still have to be applied. Look at this. 4 drivers in a big group. So it's Graxent, Baran, Debe, Maverick, Neckshack, Bimolino Gaucho, Mumamek, Wasserschwein, Juro, Kushor, Marios, Barthez, Maku, and Velix comes across to finish things out. So Graxent has P2 on track, but after penalties, he's going to bring it home P1 for the first round here of our preseason racing. Kenny, next track driver of the day. Very good moves there at the very end. Graxent brings it home. Debe, 10.5 seconds back, kind of caught my attention there. He didn't have the pace near the end. Anything there in that race catch your attention?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Neckshack in the start there. Heck of a race for this opening leg of the 3 rounds here. So, no, he was, I think, the biggest winner, one of the biggest winners of this race. And he's going to be riding high going into the next round in Baku.
Plenty of racing left to go here, I think, is going to be the big thing to remember. Now, as we look here at our qualifying rounds for who is in what position, and we set up Graxent setting himself up very, very well for the run-through. Celebrations on the podium for the double Alfa Romeo. But again, remember, just because they're teammates in the same car does not mean a thing right now. Everybody hang out with us for just a second. And of course, as I mentioned during the race, Moza Racing is now officially, we are an affiliate of Moza Racing. So if you've been looking at upgrading your sim gear, feel free to check out Moza Racing and jump in and use our link to buy yourself some amazing load cell pedals. Absolutely amazing. Love them. I have some on the way. Can't wait. And then, of course, if you're interested in joining up with the league, check us out here. Jump on Discord. Use !Discord in the chat or click our Discord join link, and you can go ahead and join in with us. That will give you the opportunity to race with all the drivers you're seeing on screen now. Yeah, castle section is dangerous. That's where we know everything goes in. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, hold on to it. We're going to watch some of our big drivers as they go through. Currently right now, Baran is going to be leading our provisional quali here. And we're going to kind of just ride on board with one driver. If they start dropping back or have a big error, we'll jump around. It's a little bit different than what we're used to. Right now, Debe looks very clean there in the Haas. Currently setting, there's a big snap oversteer though. And you can see just how quickly he is going to fall down the order. Graxent currently sitting P10. Jack back in last place there. Bimolino Gaucho and Wasserschwein currently swapping for positions up at the front. It's real weird to see only one car on track, but see that leaderboard jumping around so much. And now as they continue to go through, Wasserschwein behind Bimolino Gaucho just slightly, and there's not really a gap screen I can show you, so you just have to trust me when I say that this is very close when you see how quickly they're jumping around. Baran's going through P2, and there goes Baran up into P1. Bimolino Gaucho takes it back on the corner exit, and here's the castle section. This is where we're going to see a lot of drivers make or break. Bimolino survives. Baran loses a lot of time. Marios finds his way forward. Juro finds his way forward. Debe is back in P9. Mumamex dropping back. Bartha is up. At the moment, things look really, really good. Also, I need to shout out Graxent, currently sitting P5, but he's gifted 15 subs in this stream alone in Twitch. He needs to calm down, and he's doing good. He's driving just as much as he's focusing on the Twitch chat, and we appreciate it. Debe and Jack both DNFing out there in a corner that we would expect. And now look at this, Wasserschwein running through, but Marios currently looks like he's going to break us across for a provisional pole position. Bimolino Gaucho gets through him there, down the main straight. Could be a slight difference in setup. Who's going to come across the line first? And DRS is open. Who goes through? Bimolino Gaucho to the line, gets across. And look just how close all of those drivers were. And before I can even see who finished what position, our one-shot quali is through. Bimolino Gaucho in first place. I gotta say, I like one-shot quali.
Yeah, I would agree there. One-shot quali is a heck of a shootout there. And look at the times.
Is going to be such a close race. Kenny, any predictions there for who you think is going to come out on top?
I will say some big winners there. Maros, Wasserschwein, And then Bimolino and Gacho getting up there in the top 3 too. So we'll see what happens. We'll see. Everybody pray for a clean start, no death in the turn 1. But this is a very fun track, and if you like overtakes, you will see a lot of overtakes on this track.
Mad lads. Hopefully nobody hits the magic button going into turn 1. That is the hope. We'll see what happens though as we're setting up. We're about 30 seconds through. Syntax, Baku, I know it's a track you love. Racing here can be really hard. Castle section. What's your advice?
Just to don't make stupid things. Wink, wink. Because it might be painful for you. But yeah, definitely if you are not sure that you are going in the proper way to the castle section, just slow down a little bit. It wouldn't be a bad decision, but it could possibly save your car, I will say.
It is not worth dying in the middle of the lap.
I don't want to use such beautiful words, but yeah.
As we set up here, about 15 seconds till we go green, and we're just kind of watching all the drivers loading. Pit crews are down there doing their stretching. They're getting ready for what's going to be a real rough race for them. I'm sure several front wing changes are coming their way as we wait here. And now, cars to the grid. Everybody hold your breath. Again, 25% race coming through one more time. It's going to be 5 red lights. And for the second time today, we are underway. Predicted pit stop strategy powered by AWS. Bimolino Gaucho gets away. Marios gets away better. Bimolino Gaucho gets away very poorly. Wasserschwein's up into P2. Look at that. Alfa Romeo's Baran and Graxit side by side already as we run through down turn 1 into turn 2. Who comes out on top of this? That is going to be Baran getting ahead of Graxit, but having to dive to the inside. Now Barthez is in the mix. He wants to try to get past both of these Alfa Romeos in one foul swoop as they drag race down. Graxton ahead of Baran. And now as we go down into turn 3, hard 90-degree left-hander. And it is going to be Graxit through. Marios at the moment shows up a place. Wasserschwein up a place, down 2. Juro losing out big time, down 6 places. Debe starting P14 where he's at. Nextshak is up 2 places. He's dropping back a little bit there. Big kerfuffle in the midfield. Look at that as the drivers come through. And everybody fighting for track position that doesn't exist. This midfield battle is going to be killer. 3 wide as they go down towards the castle section here. And there's a bump going from Nextshak against Mumamek. And as he does that, they settle back in. Mumamek's through. And now we're back single file for the castle section. Half a lap survived by all 15 drivers.
Yeah, I will say that the biggest thing that's standing out to me is big hats off to every single driver out on the grid right now. With even though you're seeing a ton of contact, a little bit of too much contact, especially if you would be like a team leader or a team principal. What do we miss? What do we miss?
Big hit there, Jack Nextshak and Kushor going out of, I don't even know what turn that is. It's the left-hander at the end of the second sector. Turn numbers are escaping me right now. Sorry, horrible commentator. But hard hit there. All 3 drivers lost their front wing. That was horrible. So 3 drivers at the back of the grid losing out places again here. And we'll see some drivers diving into the pits. Kenny, sorry to interrupt you there.
No, commentators curse once again. I was about ready to compliment the whole field there as, everybody kind of making some mistakes, but everybody recovering well. So we'll see if those guys going into the pits can recover well after those mistakes. But, yeah, I mean, we're only 2 laps in.
2 laps in, and Carnage quickly. Luckily, none of them DNF, because one of them is Jack. Currently, Jack is sitting very, very bottom of the provisional quali results, and there's a weird snap from Nextshak coming out, trying to put some heat in those rear tires, putting himself under a little bit of pressure that he probably didn't want. And now we can kind of settle in. Let's check in with the front of the field here. Marios now running away here. 1.4 second lead against Wasserschwein at Baku. A fun little street circuit here. Wasserschwein P2, Bimolino Gaucho P3. But look behind Bimolino Gaucho because this is where the action is going to start. Graxit, Baran, Barthez, Maverick, Maku, Velix, even Mumamek, to Debe. That is going to be a very, very close battle as the laps start to count and as things dwindle down. DRS comes into play. Things are going to get really exciting really fast, and really, really exciting right now is this battle for P3. Bimolino, Graxit, Baran. These three are battling it out really well. And again, the Alfa Romeos must have a magnet. They stay near each other, and they're continuing to run through. Bimolino Gaucho trying to defend as best he can. Luckily for him, no DRS, but the slipstream is very powerful at Baku. This long, long, long run down the main straight. Graxit's going to dip to the left here, inside for turn 1. Go through. He brakes a little bit earlier than Bimolino does. Plenty of racing room given between the drivers. Bimolino, a slightly better run out of turn 1, and he is going to settle in. Graxit still sitting P4. Oh! And there's a spin from Graxit coming out, and his teammate collects him as well. So now his teammate's under pressure, drops all the way back to P7. It looks like he's got front wing damage there. And now that battle for P3 is gone. But 4, 5, 6, and 7 are going to be major. There's a big spin from Barthez. Barthez DNFs out of turn 3. And now as we go through, Maku, Velix, Mumamek continuing the battle here. And Maverick in the mix as well. So, what have we learned here besides the walls at Baku giveth and the walls at Baku taketh away? It is to be very, very careful on your corner exit and on applying power, because you can lose everything in one little turn. Graxit drops from P4 to P10, and Graxit is going to have Jack putting him under pressure very, very shortly.
Yeah, what a start to this. DRS is engaged, so you do have the advantage of staying in with the toe if you're kind of within, that top 5, or from P5 back, I should say. We're going to see another train forming, I think, throughout this race. But yeah, you're seeing tons of mistakes over this last lap from everybody.
Yeah, and Syntax, you can kind of correct me on this, but for the drivers, it's one thing to prep for one race, for one 50% race. But when you're going into something like this and you've got 3 races you have to prepare for, essentially, 3 short sprint races to prepare for, it's a different kind of challenge. Like, it really shows what drivers are comfortable driving and what drivers, maybe lack skill at a certain track in terms of their preparation or how comfortable they are with certain sorts of tracks. Am I wrong?
Not really, to be honest, because it looks like on the specific track you can feel more comfortable, right? So, for example, when I was driving, I get used to love the street tracks. But for example, I don't know. It will be like clearly an example for Tazo. Baku might be a disaster because he was driving on the controller. So when you have be so I don't know how to say, and please correct me. Precise. When you need to be so precise, it might be a little bit challenging on the controller, but Tazo proved all of us wrong, and he could do that on the controller also. But even though, yeah, I will totally agree with you.
We're seeing some of those precisions and maybe a little bit of fatigue, but definitely that precision, that comfort level coming out here with different drivers. Mumamek spinning out of turn 3, Maverick spinning out of turn 4, going into the castle section. So we're seeing that comfort level start to go through, and the field is extremely spread out now. Look at this. Closest battle right now is going to be Maku to Baran, 0.7 of a second back. And then the next closest battle is Kushor to Juro. Kenny, kind of tell me, with things spreading out here, are we going to see any sort of big events here as the race continues?
Yeah, definitely. You're going to see a couple more marriages with the wall later on, but a couple of drivers coming into the pits as well, both Wasserschwein and Maku. But I will say, on the subject of Wasserschwein, that's a strong driver there.
Absolutely. There's a lot to see as we continue to go. Wasserschwein's into the pits. Maku, Mumamek, Ferrari double stacking here. But again, remember, this isn't the team game. We're not playing the team game here. Strategy doesn't matter. This is going to be all about these drivers personally and what they want out of this race. Baran DNFing now. I don't know what happened to Baran. Actually, we could see what happened to him. Right there into the wall. The same place we lost Barthez. Into the wall at turn 3. Again, the wall giveth, the wall taketh away. And for Baran, that is going to set him back pretty significantly here going into this final round at Abu Dhabi. He's going to finish P14. Not a lot of points to give for that. So that might set him up very poorly. Jack's now found himself up into P9 as a result of that, though. So Jack, a very good recovery drive going through. Debe up P6 at the moment. So Debe having a good run as well. We're continuing to see lots of strong drivers in very, very good places. And watch Debe as he's going to continue to put pressure on Wasserschwein here. Wasserschwein has pit, Debe has not. But that doesn't mean a lot here at Baku, because even then, if you have enough of a pace difference, you can move pretty significantly along and forward up your grid positions and find yourself in a really good spot. We're continuing to watch here. I like riding on board through this corner specifically. Look how close he gets to the wall. And now we just kind of settle in as we go. Check in with our leader, Bimolino Gaucho, who's going to come across the line here to start lap 6 for us. And Bimolino Gaucho, 3.1 second gap to Marios. Marios diving into the pits there in that AlphaTauri livery. And Graxent is 6 seconds back from Marios, and now 9, almost 10 seconds back from Bimolino Gaucho. And then Velix is 12 seconds back from that. And then everybody is just kind of spaced out. Maverick has started to gain on Maku a bit. But of course, Maku's pit, Maverick has not. And I think at this point, everybody's just settling in and they're on survival mode. We're approaching the halfway point of this race at the end of this lap. And I think really for these drivers, they just want to collect as many points as they can and try to bring it home. That way they can secure their grid spots for next season.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say it's pretty much now just as many as you can, just, knock out qualifying laps, so to speak, because that's really going to be the secret sauce here, especially if you're on, on the subject of Jack. Jack is on a heck of a recovery drive down in P8. He is closing down. Maverick will be his next target. But, yeah, it's just, mind your P's and Q's and, stick your apexes and, just put good lap times on the board because, we'll see what happens later on this race, but no safety car, 2 DNFs already, and 1 big DNF, and that is Baran.
Yeah, Syntax. Again, driver's opinion here. If you're Baran and you finish P2 in the first race and you DNF the second race, how are you feeling right now? Are you nervous going into the third race? Are you kind of comfortable? How do you think he's going to approach Abu Dhabi?
Depends, because somehow he managed to have a really good points in the first race. Right now, totally a bad luck, and he will be out of the points. So yeah, I believe in the next race, in the third race, in the final race, I will call it, he need to push as much as he will be able, because we know that Baran have that pace. But Abu Dhabi, we know that this specific track, is a really hard track to drive, because you can lose totally out of nowhere grip and you can finish on the wall even easier than on the Baku. So yeah, I believe Baran just need to give everything that he have.
Absolutely, I would agree with that. Driver's opinion is always important here, though. And as we see Maverick into the pits here, coming out in P11 on a fresh set of mediums. And we should start seeing some of the front of the field going into the pits, I would think, by now. And they really haven't, which is surprising me. So, Kenny, I don't know. I know I'm not the strongest driver here, and I might not be the best to consult for pit strategy. Is it kind of shocking you that, like, Bimolino, Graxent, and Debe haven't pit yet? Or do you think they're trying to run long? What do you think their strategy is?
Personally, I don't know, because with the scaling, I don't think it's a apples to apples comparison, so to speak. So you can't really be, it's like you're doing any testing or tire runs or anything. So maybe you're just pushing yourself, maybe you're thinking there isn't much on the line for you, because maybe you think you're strong enough to, get in and secure your seat. But that's the battle a driver always plays, or just a competitor. It's like, where do I want to, what do I want to do when I'm comfortable? How do I want to get better? So, all these guys in question are fantastic drivers, but I don't think it's time to get comfortable. You want to be smart in your approach. So, long story short, you're gonna see him come in soon. But I will say, Bimolino Gaucho, Graxent's having a great race again, but Wasserschwein, I'm rooting for him if I'm if I'm hunting for a driver or whatever. So it's going to be interesting going into Abu Dhabi.
We've crossed the halfway point of this race, which means we're in the back half of our Sunday afternoon here. We're in the back half of the barrages, and we're in the back half of knowing what drivers have their secured seats for Season 8. And of course, the drivers will decide this week as it goes what team they're in, who their teammate is, and then that will be set, and you will find that out next Sunday. Of course, FRL has switched over as we watch this battle. Marios and Debe. Debe getting out of the way there, just kind of giving up the position to Marios, as Debe is on those old medium tires. Marios is on brand new mediums, so not really fighting out that aggressive battle. But as I was saying, yeah, FRL back Sundays, 8 p.m. Central European Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the U.S. You can convert to any other time zone accordingly as you would like, but FRL will be back. Season 8 starts off next Sunday. And if you're wondering about the race calendar, I have it pulled up right here, and I can tell you a bit about it as soon as I switch my screen. Here we go. It's going to be 11 races. We're kind of prepping up for the release of F123, getting ready for it, so it's a slightly shorter calendar here. 11 races. Starting out, round 1 will be at Albert Park in Melbourne. And we run all the way through with round 11 being at Bahrain. You're going to have some Montreal, some Portimao, some Monza, and Silverstone, which will be FRL's 100th race in our 8th season, which is absolutely crazy to say that we've been around for 100 races. And it's been an eventful 100 races. It's been up and down. It's been over 3 years of action here at FRL. It's been great to be here every bit as much as I've been around. I do appreciate the league. But that 100th race is going to be something special. And I can tell you right now, whoever wins that is going to be ecstatic for where they land. And I'll tell you who's ecstatic right now. It's going to be Baku, who is right on the back of Bimolino Gaucho, half a second back here as they go. And they've both got Marios in their sights here. Baku is trying to chase down Bimolino, but Bimolino is on a brand new set of soft tires, so I don't think there's going to be a lot of challenge there. Graxon's 5.4 seconds back from this battle here, and he is in P5 at the moment. And Graxon is just kind of settling in. He's just running his race. He's on the soft tires. We've got a yellow flag, Sector 1. That is for one of the McLarens. That is Kushor, who looks like just had a big spin out of turn 1. He's currently sitting back in last place, 16 seconds back from his teammate Velix. And for Kushor, it's just going to be a race not to write home about. You could see him a little bit of a swerve there, probably some frustration in. But, yeah, bad luck happens. Jack is recovering well, up in P6 at the moment. Next Shack's currently P7. Moving back P8, and rounding out 9th place Juro. Rounding out the top 10 is Debe, who's 0.3 of a second back on Juro on brand new soft tires. So Debe is going to be trying to have a little bit of a charge up the field. And we're going to sit here and watch Baku slipstream DRS. Is he going to be able to put any sort of a challenge in on Bimolino Gaucho? The answer is going to be no. And as they continue to run through the turns, the traction difference and the grip difference is going to come to show itself. So I think as we go through, Baku is going to start to fall back a little bit on Bimolino Gaucho.
Yeah, I think also, if Jack can keep his cool, he can finish this race. And I think where he's at, I don't think he's gonna maybe gain very much, but he is gonna have to worry about Nekshak as a threat behind. But due to scaling, though, those mediums probably aren't going to feel too great anytime soon. So it's a tall task, but strong drive so far from your top 5 all around.
Absolutely. We're watching the battle here with Debe. Debe up the inside on Juro. Juro almost running it wide, and Maverick with just some mega overspeed there, getting in the mix as well on those newer medium tires against Juro's old worn-out medium tires. Is he going to be able to have a pass here? Maverick looking around, trying a slightly alternate line through the chicane here, and not able to get past at the moment, but he is going to have plenty of opportunity. 3 laps left to go here in this race, and really for these drivers, it is survival. Nobody's got any penalties at the moment, which is something we love to see. So where the drivers finish is where the drivers finish as it stands, and I'm fully aware that I probably just commentator cursed this, but Syntax, tell me why it's hard to get penalties here at Baku.
Because if you have one, you will finish on the wall. That's simple. So yeah, because there is no such place to earn actually these penalties. I believe it will be in the sector 2, just before the castle section. There's the only turn which I believe you can like clearly earn the time penalty. But even though maybe speeding into the pit lane, I cannot see any other way to do that.
That is the fun with Baku and the street circuit. Is it's a very, very easy. It's an easy track to run, and it's a hard track to run. It's easy because there's no track limits, no off tracks to worry about. It's hard because if you do manage to somehow mess that up, your race is completely over. And look how close Bimolino, Marios, and Maku are to the wall right there as they come out of turn 4. Looking very, very good as they continue to run. They're trying as hard as they can to get past each other and hold positions here. Maverick and Juro drag race right now down the... Can you call it a backstretch? It's technically a backstretch, so I'm going to call it the backstretch. Backstretch out of turn 2 down towards turn 3. Maverick finds himself ahead of Juro now by half a second, and Maverick is going to be in P10. Jack still holding on P6. He's got a 3-second gap behind, a 6-second gap in front. And now the big battle comes down for Bimolino Gacho and Marios with 2 laps to go. Who is going to finish in P2 between these two drivers?
I think Bimolino is going to hold out. I mean, Marios is, I think going to make the move, but I don't think it's going to stick. So personally, I think this is a track you don't want to be up in front towards the end. So we'll see what happens at the last lap, because that maybe could make me eat my words a little bit, as Bimolino could lose out. Long DRS zone, long DRS run.
Yeah, it's a long run down to turn 1 here. Mario's still not close enough to make a move, though.
No. And that's the thing, too. It's like if you get just enough of an exit, on the back end going out of the final few, subtle corners of Sector 3, you could pass the guy up out in front right at the line.
Yeah, there is the chance of a final second chaotic overtake. Awesome drag race. Wouldn't be the first time we've seen that here in FRL. And let's check back here. Nextshaq is within a second of Jack. Nextshaq having I think a little bit of connection issues, though. He's kind of jumping around on my screen a bit. And look at this, Debe and Mumamek. Debe's up P8. Mumamek is P9 at the moment. So as we continue to watch here, those are going to be little battles to watch and keep our eyes on as we go through these last few laps. Mumamek
Debe has a moment.
Oh, Debe spinning out of turn 4. That's going to drop Debe all the way back to P10 now, and that is very unfortunate because he was in a good position there, and he is going to come back. And for Debe, that is going to be very problematic for him because he's currently sitting P3 in the standings.
Yeah, that's huge. That's going to hurt.
Jump back up front here. P2, P3, P4 battle. Look at this. Half a second back. Mario says on Bimolino as we run down this main straight that's over 2 kilometers long, if I recall correctly. And now Maku's in the mix as well. Maku is just half a second back behind. So that is going to be something you're going to have to watch as well. So Mario's DRS open, drag race to the line. He's dumping the battery if you look at the steering wheel. Is he going to be close enough for a dive into turn 1? He's not. He's just kind of holding on here. Runs it a little bit compromised on the line there. And now Maku is in the mix. And watch that red Forza Ferrari as we watch him continue to put pressure on the drivers ahead.
Yeah, here, if you're Maku, you're probably foaming at the mouth right now as a little bit of a mistake coming up with the 2 cars up front. But, yeah, he's up 4 positions up on the day, making the look at maybe 5, maybe 6 positions. So, a little bit of a moment there coming out of the exit.
Just hold on for the final lap is all they are thinking. And now as we go through here, you can see down on your screen, your race leader, Wasserschwein, going through your screen into the castle section here. Wasserschwein, we haven't talked about him a lot, but he's in a very, very good position right now to find this win. Half a lap to go, maybe a little bit less. Bimolino Gacho sitting P2, but that P2 is very much being challenged by Marios at the moment. Look at Marios as they have the run down the hill here, and he's right on the rear bumper. Everybody's getting a little swirly here. They're trying as hard as they can. Kushor pulls the fastest lap out for himself. He's in P13, but hey, it's the fastest lap, so it still counts as we run through. Bimolino Gacho P2, Mario's P3, and now is the main drag race to the straightaway. Can he put any pressure here? This is where it's for all the marbles. There's nothing left to give. Bimolino Gacho running P2 at the moment. And you can see the AlphaTauri and the Ferrari right behind trying to put pressure on. Who is going to come through? That red light is blinking on the back of Marios. He doesn't have anything left to give. And by half a second, Bimolino Gaucho beats Marios for P2, Maku P4, and Wasserschwein brings it home and wins our second race of our 3 barrage races that we have here today. Jack, salute to him. 12 laps on the medium tires. Brings it home P6, Nekshak P7, Mumamek P8, Maverick P9. Debe is going to come across P10. He was running up there in the midfield, but that unfortunate spin near the end of the race is going to cost him big time. And now Velix, Juro, and half a lap back from the race leaders is Kushor. And we'll just kind of wait for Kushor to bring it in here. But Wasserschwein winning our second round.
That's my driver of the series so far, personally. Just from the bits and pieces I've seen of him on track, he's got flashes of of really good driving. So we'll see what happens there. But props to the top 3 and the top 5 there. Strong drives up there. But I guess the wall being the only penalties given out today, as no time penalties, I believe. Yeah, we'll see what happens going into Abu Dhabi. But yeah, it's you're seeing some things happen that based on what we've seen in the past, especially with, as Jack is your in-game driver of the day, which I would agree with that. I don't know what you think about that, but yeah, good race.
Jack showing a stellar performance all the way through and bringing himself up. Of course, Wasserschwein, a very well-known driver here in FRL. He's been around for a long time. Wasserschwein, a very, very consistent, smooth driver, and we're seeing that with him here today. It plays out in the end in Baku. And one race left to go. Syntax.
I'm still here.
What are your thoughts going in?
Actually, I don't have any thoughts because it's so messed up right now. So, the last race will be the most challenging for the drivers, and it will be most important race, I will say. Because right now, everybody got a chance to be the main driver in the upcoming Season 8. But it will be definitely a very enjoyable to watch a race. And one more thing that I wanted to mention is I'm so glad and I'm so proud of you, Bradley, because you improved so much reading the Polish names that I need to say that on the stream. Big congrats.
All right, here we go for the final round. Again, one shot qualifying, 25% race here. Coming up, 15 drivers to bring it home and secure who has positions. At the moment, Jack, Velix, Barthez, and Kushor under the most pressure as they are currently sitting as our bottom 4. That doesn't mean they won't race in FRL. That just means that they're reserve drivers for next season. Not the worst thing in the world, but if you want to have a guaranteed seat for all 11 races, you want to be up there at the front. We're going to jump on board here as we get ready and look at the eyes of Graxton. I love that camera angle here at Abu Dhabi because you can see just right into the eyes. But we're going to be underway here very, very quickly as Graxton brings us through. And again, one-shot qualifying. Watch that leaderboard on the left-hand side. If you see someone jump way up, way down, that means they did something very, very wrong or very, very right. Jack has retired out of this qualifying session, so Jack is setting himself up to start last on the grid here in Abu Dhabi as we continue to run through. We are running down the backstretch here into the middle sector, and Graxton currently sets P3. DRS wide open. He's looking really, really strong here, but we'll continue to watch and see how he goes. Hard braking zone here into a left-hander. We've seen major passes there in real life, Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen. I don't care what your opinion is on that. I just know there was some good racing that happened in that corner, and now Graxton, look at that. He's currently first place, but look, he is abusing the line on the left-hand side. He's really trying to take advantage of those track limits. Graxton's purple middle sector, so Graxton might be setting himself up here for pole position as we go. Bimloto Gacho, Maku, and Wasserschwein currently P2, 3, 4 as we run around third sector into the hotel section as it's known. And we keep this run around. He goes underneath the hotel, hits that left-hander there. Graxton, Bimolino Gaucho, Maku, Wasserschwein, still our top 4. Juro P5, Debe P6. And now we're going to come around the final corner. And let's watch how quickly these drivers finish around each other. And watch the checkered flags run. Graxton, Bimolino, Maku, Wasserschwein, Marios, Debe, Juro, Baran, Nekshak, Mumamek, Velix, and Barthez, who just now crosses the line. And we had several drivers DNF out, surprisingly. So, 12 drivers finished qualifying, 3 drivers DNF'd. Jack, of course, retiring out, and he will be starting plumb last. Kushor and Maverick both getting disqualified for some reason, which is really weird. But Barthez had a big moment there, lost 8 seconds back. Otherwise, all the drivers very close to each other, except for Graxon, who had nearly a half-second gap on Bimolino. That went really fast.
Yeah, I did.
All right. So, Debe mid-pack, Graxon up front. I think we all know how this is going to go. And by that, I mean big wreck turn 1.
I have faith. I will say, though, shout out to Graxon having a heck of a day overall. We'll see if he can bring it home. He's currently at the provisional P1 spot by 8 points. 8 points, but I'm sticking behind Wasserschwein as my driver. I think he might have a good finish here. He just has to beat Graxent by 8 points or 9 points. 9 points in the Secures P1.
Easily doable here. Syntax, we're 10 seconds to the red lights going out. What are your final thoughts?
I just crossing my fingers to every single driver because everyone deserves for the best.
Absolutely. Syntax, go ahead and take us through this race start.
Oczywiście nie możemy, drodzy Państwo, zapomnieć o naszej polskiej sekcji tutaj w dziale komentarzy, także witam serdecznie, mały pit świateł i ruszyliśmy, zobaczmy co tutaj się dzieje, Beoli oraz Maku, duży tutaj potencjał był na właśnie zadzianie się dymu na początku i tak też się stało, zobaczmy co tam się stało, Jack już od razu z kolizją, 5 sekund kary z Wixem, zobaczmy Graxen z przodu od razu ucieka, zaraz za nim Maku, Majros, Neksiak, Debe, Muminek, Wasserschwein, Kuszor, zobaczmy jak blisko oni tutaj lecą obok siebie, to jest niesamowite. Ale oczywiście Jack po raz kolejny wypchnięty na samym początku tego wyścigu, co jest bardzo utrudniające dla niego, ponieważ no nie oszukujmy się, zaczynać każdy kolejny wyścig, który stoi przed nim z samego końca, no jest to niebywale ciężkie zadanie, ale oczywiście przejdźmy dalej, ponieważ tutaj dzieje się prawdziwa magia, zobaczmy Bartes, Baran, Żuro, oni wszyscy są tutaj obok siebie, zobaczmy kto zdecyduje się zaatakować, widzimy, że Baran cały czas po wewnętrznej udaje się wziąć Barteza, jednakże ten nie odpuszcza, cały czas idą łeb w łeb, koło w koło, cały czas obok siebie, ale teraz Żuro z problemami, Baran ciśnie przed siebie, ile tylko fabryka dała, zobaczmy jak on się tam wepchnął pomiędzy nimi obydwoma, niesamowita akcja, ale cały czas dzieje się, Bartes jeszcze tutaj udało się wyprzedzić, cały czas w trójkę jadą na jednym zakręcie, Bartes jakimś cudem właśnie wskakuje przed dwóch zawodników, niestety tam chyba był kontakt, Żuro wylądował na ścianie, no dramatyczne sytuacje podczas pierwszego okrążenia, natomiast początek stawki już sobie spokojnie ucieka, już tutaj sekunda w zanadrzu, niecała. Graxen oczywiście pędzi jak błyskawica, robiąc najszybsze okrążenie i tak też się właśnie kończy nasze pierwsze okrążenie.
Wasserschwein taking some major front wing damage there in lap 1. Now he's into the pits here. It looks like he is the only driver having to pit after some major contact that was had early on, but he should be okay. He's got a long race to go here, 15 laps here in Abu Dhabi. Graxen currently in the lead by 0.8 of a second. Maku P2 here. All the drivers have had some fairly decent starts. Bimolino Gaucho losing out big time on that beginning, though. Second worst start compared to Wasserschwein. Juro down 7 places. Looking at your pit stop strategy powered by AWS. Soft to medium, medium to hards. Really, it just depends on what you want to do. Let's look at what drivers are running what tire. A lot of soft to medium mix out there. I'm going to say we're going to see a lot of soft medium stuff. Next, Shaq and Mario side by side as they run down out of the backstretch, run into the second backstretch here, and they are side by side. Next, Shaq's on the inside, Mario's to the outside. Mario's is not going to have the run that he needs to hold the position there, and Next Shaq is going to set himself up into P3. At the moment, it is Grax at P1, Maku P2, and then we are watching this battle for P3 continue to develop. One more time, the AWS pit stop strategy. Lap 6, your pit window opens, or lap 8, depending on if you are on the main strategy or the alternate strategy. Now, Kushor is 0.2 of a second back here against Jack. Jack getting past Kushor here and putting himself up into P8. So Jack is absolutely pushing after starting back of the grid and trying to find more time. He's already got himself up into the midfield. Is he going to be able to compete at the front of the grid as things go? It is to be determined. We'll keep our eyes on it. Kushor dropping back even more places now. Kushor into the pits Not sure what happened there, but he is into the pits. You can see the Red Bull team is ready for a driver to come into the pits, but their driver has already went around and is about to pass the start-finish line. So I don't know who they're ready for.
Yeah, what a opening commentary bit there from our man in the Polish language. Is that right? Was that Polish?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, a little bit of an improv there, so kudos to him. And definitely a kind of a questionable start from some drivers out here on the grid here. Debe kind of down there in P5, creeping up the field here, but Nekshak having a good race as well. So, Graxent doing Graxent things here, I guess.
Graxent doing Graxent things. I'm going to put that on his t-shirt and sell it. Nekshak trying to battle against Marios. Nekshak had a little bit of a snap there out of the last turn, and that puts him down into P4 here. Half a second back. Yellow flag is going to be Nekshak who has spun. What has happened to Nekshak here as he goes through? It's dropped him back all the way to P8. Is he going to lose even more places, though? And it looks like he's going to get lucky and be able to hold on to P9 or P8 there, as Baran was just a little bit further back. Jack already picking up
going
3
Tokyo
second
drift.
penalty. Jack picking up corner cutting warnings there, having to get back on track, dropping down to P10 there. He spins out of the final corner, gets his corner cutting penalty early, and now we can kind of turn our attention back to the front of the grid here as Baku and Graxent this battle by half a second. But watch Bimolino Gaucho here, who is going to be right on the rear wing of Baran as we run through. We're lap 4:15. Not much racing left to go here on this Sunday, so hold on as tightly as you can and just bear with us for just a few more minutes. Jack retiring from the session, so Jack's race is over. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be our first driver to be settled into reserves. Jack will be a reserve driver for Season 8 officially.
Yeah, it wasn't the best performance since we've seen Jack on the track. I believe maybe a little bit more practice and Jack will be shining once again. And I truly believe that, and I hope to see Jack once again on the track, because it was just a pure unlucky in all of these races that he will performing today.
Yeah, Jack we've seen Jack perform very strong, of course. I remember, who was that? That was Debe off the track.
Debe's out, I think. Is he in? Is he live still?
He's back going.
Yeah,
he spins in the final corner, though. I don't know if there was contact or not, but that's going to cost him big time. He's down into P7 now.
I caught him just off. I was following a different driver, and I just saw his car. It looks like the front end of his car just completely washed away, and he completely lost it.
It looks like that just happened to him again out of turn 1, pulling a la carte Carlos Sainz there in the white American brick, in the Haas in the non-American colors. As we go through, though, and watch, Debe's got plenty of time in this race. 10 laps to go here that he can bring things through. He's going to have a little bit of pressure from behind with Baran and then Juro in the mix. Barthez up in P5 is putting pressure on Mumamek at the moment. And Maku is putting his pressure on Graxent here. 10 laps to go. And at the moment, only one driver gone, and that is going to be Jack.
Still have a slew of pit stops here coming up, though. Only 3 drivers have stopped so far. So we'll see, still see some action in the pits, but heck of a day from your P4 man, Mumamek. I'm sorry, I'm butchering that, but kudos to that guy currently down in the Ferrari car.
Yeah, Mumamek showing some strong performance through. Baran and Debe battling it out a little bit there. Debe dropping back P9, half a second to gap there. Of course, they're on the medium tires. They've got Juro putting in pressure behind as well. And now Juro is going to be putting in a lot of pressure here on Debe. Look at that. Look how close he is to the rear wing. Debe just can't keep the car together here. I don't know if maybe he just picked a wrong setup or what happened, but Debe is struggling this race. He's all the way down into P10 now. I don't know. Syntax, maybe you can tell from your vantage point and as a driver. I mean, it looks like he's just understeering left, right, and center, but I don't see any front wing damage.
Exactly, because it's not coming from the wing damage. It's all of the situation that Deba currently have, it's probably it might be of course my thoughts only, but it could be like wrong setup. And also another thing that I mentioned already on the Baku, you can so easily lose the grip on the Abu Dhabi. It's really a difficult track, to be honest, and the tires lifetime, it's not that good as we had on the, for example, in the Baku or in the first race. So yeah, basically Debe might be struggling because maybe his tires are overheating so badly, maybe too much pressure. The situation for Debe is not clearly that good as he had on the beginning of this race. But even though I believe he will still manage to do somehow with the setup, because you can of course possibly to change a little bit your wing when you will go to the pit lane. But I don't believe it will be such a good idea to do that, because as you can see, even now he is struggling a lot in the third section. So it will be a very, very hard race for Debe. Right now he once again spun just before the finish line. So yeah.
Very, very unfortunate race for Debe here as we continue to watch and go through. Pit lane has gotten a little bit busy there. Next track, into the pits, Juro into the pits. They both go onto a fresh set of medium tires. Graxit was into the pits as well. He's dropped all the way back to P6 at the moment. Looking at our gaps here, Marios and Maku, this is a good battle that's starting to develop, and they are just about a second off of each other. And then Barthez is about a second behind from Mumamek. Next track, 0.3 of a second off of Debe now, and if Debe continues to struggle like this, it is going to be a very, very bad time. I think Debe needs to hurry up and get off of those tires that he's on. I think they might just be gone and over with. Lap 7 of 15 here. We're past the halfway point officially, and as we continue to watch, there goes Debe down into P11 against Next track. And now we can kind of just settle in and see how the back half of this race develops and see where things land.
Yeah, a bit of a bad day at the office for Debe, down currently in P11, but and still with the stop left to go. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's on the day P3 and a P10 finish so far. So going into round one, he'll definitely have some work to do. At least getting him into top form.
Well, and I want to remind everyone that this is setting the grid for the permanent drivers. There are still always reserve driver slots that are open. If you're interested in joining the action, you can do !Discord in the chat. Jump in the Discord. You just need to set a couple of time trial times, and then you can mark yourself in as a reserve driver. If there's ever a spot open, a reserve driver is needed, you may get to fill that role and find yourself on a broadcast on a Sunday evening here with FRL. Now we're watching this battle, Graxit, Bimolino, Gaucho. Graxit gets by there, has no problem. And as we go through, Maverick and Baran are now battling, and Baran is going to be passed by Maverick. That is going to put Maverick into P6, Baran into P7. Marios currently has a 5.5, almost 6 second gap on Mumamek, and Barthez is about half a second back from Mumamek there. So that battle at the front of the grid is continuing to develop, and of course, as pit stops continue to mix things up, things are going to get really fun here. Maku onto a fresh set of softs to finish out the race. He is going to have a lot of pace there behind Wasserschwein to continue to catch up as we go. Marios diving into the pits here in the AlphaTauri. He is going to relinquish the lead, but Mumamek is going to follow him right on in. Where is Marios going to do? Marios goes onto soft tires here, and Mumamek is going to go onto soft tires as well. So these two drivers committing into soft tires to finish the race. Typically, if you were at Abu Dhabi, I feel like medium to hard would really be the race strategy. But again, these are short, just 25% races. There's nothing to lose. Bolt on a set of softs and send it.
Alarm, Bartes on the P1. This is something that I probably, as long as I'm here on the FRL, I've never seen such a thing. So I'm so happy to see that, to be honest, because if you don't know, of course, Bartes is our administrator, also same as Debe. So yeah, maybe some shout outs to him, because he is doing a really good job right now, and I would love to see Bartes on the podium. Right now, when we will look on the strategy, it is possible because Bemolino Gaucho is in the exactly same spot as Bartes right now. Of course, Graxen on the P2 right now with a fresh pair of mediums compound. Looks like he is going to win once again, but even though looking forward to the podium, Bartes still have a chance to stand up podium, even though right now he is going to the pit lane to change some tires. So cross the fingers, Bartes, you can do this.
Barthez is finding himself in a really good position as we run through here, and Graxent finding himself back up front as Barthez pits. Bimolino Gaucho into the pits as well. They are onto a set of soft tires for these final 5 laps here in this race, and this should set them up very well. I think he's got plenty of room back to Mumamek to come out of the pits here. I might be wrong though, so hold your breath here if you're a fan of Barthez. And of course, we're all a fan of Barthez here in the commentary booth because he is one of the 2 names that signs our paychecks. Anyways, so as Mumamek runs across and goes through, Mumamek is going to get out ahead of Barthez. However, Barthez critically gets ahead of Maku here, which is very important that he can stay ahead of Maku. Maku putting a lot of pressure on, though, and is he going to be able to stay in a good position here? DRS open for both drivers, and it looks like Maku trying to decide what he's going to do. He's going to settle back in. Now Wasserschwein, next check behind them, is going to be deciding who is going to land where, and as they look through, Wasserschwein, next shack inside, Wasserschwein outside. Maku and Barthez coming together somewhere ahead of that battle, though, as both end up off the track. Barthez all the way down in P8 now. Maku in P6. Neither driver with front wing damage that I can tell. Very fortunate for them. However, I didn't see exactly what happened there with those two. Was it just side-by-side racing?
It was side-by-side racing, but Maku was pushing a little bit too much on the back of the car of Bartes, caused him spun, like maybe not spun, but you know, Maku was actually like pushing the side part of the car of Bartes, so he couldn't do anything, and both of them like go next to the wall. So yeah, that's why the situation looks like this.
That is very unfortunate for Barthez. Barthez was in a very good position for a podium on this race. However, he is still in a good position at the moment to secure himself a seat for Season 8. Potentially. We'll have to see how he finishes because as of right now, he is the bottom of our leaderboard for our Season 8 qualifiers. So we'll have to see here where he lands and how he finishes. As we're watching, Graxnet currently 9.6 seconds ahead of Marios and just kind of cruising his own race here. We have a yellow flag, and that is going to be, unfortunately, for Debe. Debe finding himself back here in last place at the moment and just kind of running a race that he's going to want to forget about.
Baku once again closed the door in front of the Wasserschwein on the exit of the second DRS straight zone, and it was kind of dirty, and we're trying to avoid situation like this, and you don't have to push that much. I understand that is like the final race of the pre-barrages and you're fighting for the place, but I'm always saying to respect the other driver that you have on your right or your left. And I believe, and I really want to see much better performance for the drivers in the upcoming Season 8.
Absolutely. It's a long season too, so I think the pressure could mount for some of these drivers now, understanding that this is what's going to secure them a seat or what might not secure them a seat here as we go. Bimolino Gaucho currently less than a second behind on Wasserschwein here, and we're seeing a good battle between Juro and Kushor that was forming there. Barthez spinning out there out of turn 1. So Barthez is going to lose a little bit more time now and drop back, and he is going to come out P9. He's going to be under pressure here from Baran as Barthez continues to try to get going. But lap 12 of 15. Kenny, your thoughts on the pre-barrages, and does this get you excited for Season 8 like it does me?
Oh, absolutely. Couldn't say more about these drivers. Definitely a lot of pros and cons to work on, but yeah, definitely I would say 2 strong drivers, Graxen and Marios, and then Mumamek too, having a bit of a day, at least a bit of a race this particular race. But I will say though, take everything here with a grain of salt, though, because once lights go out on the very first round of the season, that's when things get real, and that's when a lot of drivers may be a little bit less conservative, and that might actually do them better for their points total. So really, it's anybody's guess, but yeah, we'll see what happens here as we come up 2.5 laps to go here in this race.
Barthez and Maverick picking up 3-second time penalties for corner cutting here. So they are setting themselves up near the end of the race here for what could be a problem, as Barthez is one of our drivers that's currently on the line between having a seat and being a reserve driver. So we just kind of have to watch and wait for that to go through. Baran finding himself up into P9, looking really, really strong so far. Barthez, P10, of course, he was running up near the front of the grid, setting himself up for a podium or even a win as we went through some unfortunate moments and he's had to drop back. Nekshak, currently our closest battle at the moment. He is 0.5 second, 0.3 of a second back on Mumamek, and then Mumamek has 10.5 seconds ahead of him. Marios nearly 12 seconds ahead of him is Graxent. Graxent running a league of his own today, and I think Graxent making a big statement, but I think the big statement for me from any driver this weekend is going to be Debe. Debe showing up at Coda and just absolutely showing off. If it wasn't for a little bit of misluck, I think Debe really, really would have been up there. Debe on the podium, but really strategy kind of caught him out because he was on track to win that with no issues.
Yeah, I think it's just maybe either not being right in the frame of mind, or we've been saying off and on, getting that right setup, at least the right setup for the day. So, and then also the scaling on the tires too. So grip, if you're used to running 50% races or whatever you're used to, I don't think the Barrages are a true apples to apples, but I mean it's pretty dang close. I mean, you can only do so much in the virtual world, and we've seen a lot today, a ton actually. So yeah, I'm excited for next week.
We're seeing a big battle. The checkered flag hasn't fallen yet, so there's still positions to play for. Nekshak, Mumamek battling side by side there, and Nekshak, with the help of DRS, is able to get ahead of Mumamek. Nekshak finding himself on the podium here. Lap 14 to 15. He's got a little bit more to go here, and now he's just got to try to defend it for a lap and a half here. Graxent, again, 12 seconds ahead. This is the battle for P3. It's the closest battle we got. Barthez and Baran battling it out side by side here, going out of the backstretch onto the second backstretch here. And Braun gets a little bit better of an exit there, and Barthez is going to find himself back in P10 still, but in contention to move forward as we go. Moving back here, 0.5 second back on Nekshak, continue to follow through, and there is the lap car of Debe that they are passing. So Debe secured in that last place, but as it stands at the moment, I believe Debe is still going to find himself a spot in Split 1 with that great performance in Race 1, finding him a little bit more of carry room as we go. But let's keep watching and see what happens here. Maku currently 0.5 second back on Mumamek. Mumamek 1.3 seconds back on Nekshak. We have started the final lap, and Graxent is just coasting around the second half of the lap here in that Alfa Romeo livery. And Graxent putting on a stellar performance here, making a statement, and I think he's going to be one to watch as we go through. Marios, very good driving from him, running through podium last race. He's running good here. He finished outside of the points in the first race, but again, a strong showing from him. Nekshak, strong showing as well, finishing consistently midfield, currently finding himself P3 here with a 2-second gap. 0.2 of a second back. Maku and Mumamek, the two Ferraris, are battling out, and Bimolino Gaucho is going to be just sitting in the back, sniffing around, trying to see if he can find something to get past here. Maku is going to hold on against Mumamek as they go through the third sector here. Let's jump to the start-finish line as Graxent brings it home in style, does donuts at the start-finish line, and Graxent is going to finish out our Barrages, a race victor. Once again, 2 out of 3 wins ain't half bad, Graxent. Marios comes across P2. Nekshak coming around the final couple of corners, P3. Maku, Mumamek, Bimolino Gaucho battling. Bimolino pushing as hard as he can out of the final corners. But Ferrari, P4, P5. Bimolino, P6. And you can tell the drivers are happy that these Barrages are over. This has got to be a tough race weekend, 3 races, 3 different tracks, 3 different styles, and you've got to survive it all to prove you have your spot in FRL. Maverick P8, Barrages P9, P10 is going to be Juro, P9 is going to be Juro, P10 Barrages, P11.
Why though?
I think time penalties.
Ah, right, because Bartes have 3-second time penalty, right?
Yep. Velix will bring it across P11 and P12 Kushor. Now look at the celebrations coming through. Baran still has half a lap to finish here. I think Baran is just going to coast it in through, as that is just going to be where we land. So, Kenny, Syntax, I'm excited for Season 8. I hope you all are. GG's all the way around. Congratulations to our drivers. We're going to hang out for just a second so we can get the official final standings up to see where the drivers land themselves.
Accent is a monster. But yeah, we're seeing some pretty close point totals here across the board here as they start to populate. I'm not surprised to see some names kind of pop up there where they are. But yeah, we'll see here in a few more, hopefully a few more seconds, a couple more minutes.
Gonna bring the results here onto the stream screen so that way we can watch them update live as they go. So let us look here at how things are going. So as we see the results update, here is going to be our final setups for the drivers. And you can see as we go through, Graxit, no surprise, finishing P1 of our Barrage weekend. Marios, P2, Bimolino, P3. Wasserschwein will come out P4 here in our Barrages. Nextrak P5, Maku P6, Mumamek P7, Maverick 8th, Debate finishing P9. His saving grace was getting P3 there at Coda. Baran finishing P10. Again, his saving grace was that P2 early on. Juro will finish P11. Kushor, Velix, Barthez, and Jack will unfortunately find themselves in reserve driver roles for our season, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're not going to be driving. Just means they don't have a starting position guaranteed. Guys, it's been a good weekend.
Great weekend.
Syntax,
Exactly.
any final thoughts?
I'm so happy that we have that actually, because it's show us what we can predict for the upcoming Season 8, and we are definitely currently seeing that Graxent is ready. He was practicing a lot because it was a fact that he was struggling in the Season 7, right, Bradley? And we clearly see that Graxent had a lot of improvement, and maybe it will comes to his old good times when he were winning a lot of races. So maybe some of the other drivers, for example, Tazo, Kasti, might be starting being afraid, I would say, of the Graxent. Maybe not. We will see.
I can see that. Graxent is showing he is a force to be reckoned with. That's a very, very competitive grid that he just raced in, and he won 2 out of 3 races. So if Graxent can perform week after week and be consistent, I could see him being up front and us seeing a new FRL champion. Wouldn't surprise me a bit.
I wouldn't see more, to be honest, because we already said everything.
Any final thoughts?
Can we fast forward to next Sunday?
7 days time. Join us for the season opener of Season 8. It will be round 1. We will be running in Melbourne, Australia, a track that I love. I love Albert Park. It's a lot of fun to drive. It's a lot of fun to watch. It's a lot of fun to commentate. Of course, if you are interested in joining FRL, do exclamation Discord in the chat, or let me just do it for you here. Watch this. Exclamation Discord. Follow the link that pops up. Go ahead and join us. There's reserved seats open. Who knows? You might start next week and you may not realize it. If you're interested in supporting the league, as always, there is Moza Racing, an affiliate of ours. You can use our link, get you some great sim racing gear that all of us believe in, and you're going to directly support the league. As always, go hop over on YouTube. We'll post the VOD after. You can rewatch all of the action of Barrages, any of our previous season races, and you can always catch up on any FRL that you've missed by following YouTube. Join the Discord. Check us out on Twitter, TikTok, all of the socials as always. On behalf of Syntax, on behalf of Kenny, my name is Brad. Thank you all for joining us, and we will see you in 7 days' time in the land down under for season 8. I cannot wait.
Thank you so much. It was always a pleasure to be next to you in such a beautiful races. I cannot wait the next week.
7 days' time. We'll see you next week, everyone. And it looks like Noda is going to be your winner of this Portuguese Grand Prix. Is your champion. JJ splits the middle, gets past both drivers.